What is up, my Squirtle? It is I, your king, welcoming you to another update video, and this time I have the webcam ready and going. Excited to finally be able to do that so I can actually, show and not just tell a little more from now on in the update video, so pretty excited to be able to do that. But yes, welcome back, everybody. A few things I want to talk about this week. And yes, we are back on the regular Tuesday schedule, and it's hopefully going to stay that way for a while. But there's a lot I want to talk about this week, actually. Well, I guess not too much, but a bit. So I'm just going to jump right into it. First things first, regarding the channel. Shadow of Mordor, as you can see, uploaded. I mean, it uploaded yesterday, and it also uploaded. It's going to be uploading again today, and that's the finale. There's actually, if you are one of the very few people even paying attention to the series, there was a mess up. So I was supposed to have 2 episodes following the previous one, the one before yesterday, which went up, I want to say almost a week ago. There were supposed to be 2 after that, before yesterday's episode. I was supposed to go back to Udun and take care of some side quests there. And I never did. Well, I did, but I lost those episodes. I really don't know what happened to them. So as a result, we just kind of skipped right to the finale. So today's episode is the finale of Shadow of Mordor, at least until, I do the DLC. There's the Bright Lord DLC or whatever. That I plan to do that eventually. I don't actually have it at the moment, but that will be coming eventually. Probably later this year, maybe next year. I don't know yet. We'll see. I don't even know how long it is, so who knows? Who knows? But that is at some point in the future. But yes, then Shadow of Mordor is over, and then it's going to be Rise of the Tomb Raider until that hits completion. And that's probably got a good, I want to say 8-10 episodes left. So that'll just be daily for a little bit. Fallout 4 will be intermingled in between those. I'm thinking either once every 2 or 3 days I'll upload that. It won't replace Shadow of Mordor. I mean, I guess at this point, Rise of the Tomb Raider, it won't replace them at all. It'll just be uploaded alongside Rise of the Tomb Raider, and then at Soul Silver once that becomes the daily, because it will be pretty much all that's left. I'm trying to move through these LPs as fast as possible because with March comes Pokken Tournament and then Trackmania Turbo. I think it's Trackmania Turbo. Is it Turbo or is it something else? I think it's Trackmania Turbo. But anyways, whatever it is, I have it on I just know it's a Trackmania game. That's all I can say. Oh man, you pre-ordered this game for $40 and you don't even know the title. I just know it's Trackmania. There's so many Trackmania games, it's hard to keep all the titles straight. I just know that they're all freaking good. Or at least all the ones I've played. And I'm very excited for this one. So I have that on pre-order, and I was thinking about making videos for it, as well as Pokken or Pokken or what. It doesn't matter. I don't freaking care about pronunciation for that one. I mean, Tekken, Pokken, that sounds more correct to me. Pokken just sounds weird. When you Pokken, like that. I mean, I get Pokemon is you can make a joke out of that too, but Pokken, that's just straight up a thing you're doing. You're just straight up poking people. It just sounds funny to me, so I've always said Pokken. But whatever, it doesn't matter. And then in April, I actually can't remember what releases in April, but May is also packed. But there's a lot of games coming out that I want to cover. In all the way up to June, where we get No Man's Sky, which actually just got its release date announced. And then today, that I'm recording it, which is actually yesterday, we got the release date for Overwatch announced, and I also might even be covering some of that. So there's a lot of stuff I got to cover, plus all of the LPs I already had pre-planned for older games. Banjo-Tooie, Bioshock 2, stuff that I've wanted to do for a while that I haven't been able to get around to because Let's Plays keep dragging on. So that's why I'm trying to hurry these LPs up, get them over with, because they've been, they've lasted for too long. They've been around since November, and it's time to freaking get a move on. So, yeah, I'm trying to crank these LPs out and get started on the next stuff. So just kind of expect that weird little schedule for the next while. First impressions, of course, is still going to be going up as always. And by the way, thank you all for the awesome response to Resistance Fall of Man. I was surprised at the number of views that got that day. It actually beat Pokemon Coliseum in viewership. It's the fastest viewed first impressions video yet. I didn't expect that from Resistance Fall of Man. I thought that was just going to be kind of another one that was like, overlooked, but apparently a lot of people were interested in it, which I think is really cool. I was interested in it as well. I mean, it was a it's the first in a really good series, exclusive series, that just came out at a very bad time for the PlayStation 3. And so I was very intrigued, and I wanted to see what it was like, and I guess I was not the only one, because a lot of people viewed it. And I'm assuming a lot of the people that viewed it, they came from the crowd, that watches all my Medal of Honor stuff, and I know I have a lot of viewers or a lot of subscribers that have come in from those Let's Plays, being my most viewed LPs. But that aside, I was still happy to see a lot of interest in it. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And that's kind of the whole point of First Impressions. I really like to see that, and that's what I hope to find. I hope to find more games that not a lot of people know about but are interested in, and then we find out that they're actually pretty decent games together. Because I gotta say, despite the fact that it seemed more like a late PS2 game than an early PS3 game, Resistance: Fall of Man is a pretty good game. Gotta say, at least from what I've played. I'm sure there's so much more to it, but we will have to see if I ever get back to it. But yes, and then also I am looking to change the screen name of the channel just slightly. I'm looking to, instead of it be LP Squirtle King, it's going to be The Squirtle King, just so that the title doesn't kind of restrict to Let's Plays, I guess. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I can kind of upload whatever the heck I want anyway, but I just kind of wanted to... I just wanted to make sure that the title doesn't, I'm not set in stone because of my channel name. I'm not going to change the URL. I can't really change that. I mean, I could, but I'd have to go through way too many hoops to do it. So I'm just going to be changing the screen name to like the Squirtle King or something like that here soon. So if you see that and you're like, hey, I noticed that changed, then well, I'm telling you now why. Yes. So next thing I wanted to move on to is, well, for those who don't know, I am a little bit of a collector. So I would actually, there's some things I kind of wanted to show off that I and specifically, it's also for video purposes, because I might make videos on this stuff at some point, but I like to collect really, not necessarily extremely rare things, but there are some things that I like to have that I can boast about. It is something I like about collecting games, and some of the things I want to show, not all of it is like super like rare or anything. Like this first thing I actually want to show, I'm sure a lot of you already have, but I'm actually surprised myself that I picked it up, and that is Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. I was not planning on picking this up at first, even though Twilight Princess is my favorite Zelda game. I was not planning on picking this up anytime soon, but I caved and I got it day one, and this amiibo joins my large amiibo collection of 2 alongside my pink yarn Yoshi. So I kind of hyped myself up to get it, and yeah, I got it. And if I ever Let's Play a Zelda game on this channel, it's going to be that and or Phantom Hourglass. Those are probably the only ones you'll ever see on this channel, just because those are the ones I know the best, the ones I like the most, and really the only ones I'd even consider Let's Playing at any point. Because I mean, Phantom Hourglass is not like my second favorite or anything. It's just I have a lot of experience with it and do have fond memories of it, but I will concede it's flawed. But Twilight Princess is my favorite. That is my favorite Zelda game, and I would like to cover it at some point. Although don't expect it from me until Nintendo decides to fix their copyright crap. So, which is why I haven't done anything Wii U related yet. Although we're going to test the waters with Pokken here soon. And if that doesn't go well, then I guess no Wii U coverage for a long time. And then the last thing, well, actually there's 2 more things, technically 3, are these right here, okay? For those who don't know, this right here is actually an unopened copy of Pokemon Stadium 2 for the N64 from Japan. But in buying that, the guys at the retro store that I go to gave me this for free. Now this is a little bit more special, actually. I mean, that's cool too. I mean, that's like a collector's item, but this is actually more interesting video-wise. This is affectionately referred to as Pokemon Stadium 0. It was released only in Japan, and it is kind of a prototype beta kind of thing for the first Pokemon Stadium. It only has a roster of 42 Pokemon. It is not like the Pokemon Stadium we know here in the US. It's a little bit different and a lot less Pokemon to choose from. But I think that at some point it's going to be kind of cool to cover that. My Nintendo 64 is not region locked because it's actually really easy to remove the region locking on a 64. And so I'm able to cover Japanese versions of games on the 64 now. So that's kind of cool. Well, not at the moment. I'm still have a capture card situation with my 64 and a TV situation, because, you know, trying to capture 64 stuff on an HD only TV is a little bit difficult. So, I mean, I still have other things I have to go through, but for right now, I can just safely say that my 64, it's not region locked, so I can cover that stuff. And I would love to cover that game at some point and show it off, and I think that'd be pretty cool. And last thing, and this is purely bragging rights, but I mean, I wanted to personalize my gaming a little bit, and I kind of wanted to show this off because this is a bit of an expensive treat, but it's something that I'm kind of proud of. I wanted to personalize my PS4 controller. For those who don't know, PS4 controller is pretty much all I use for any videos I make. I use it for my Xbox One. I use it on my PS4, of course. I use it on PC. I even use it on the Wii U. As for any game that supports a Pro controller, I can use this instead. And I wanted to personalize my controller, so I made this thing. I ordered it. It cost a pretty penny. This right here, this is the initials for my gamer tag on pretty much every system. And I just think it looks pretty sweet. It's not modded in any way. It's not... yeah, I don't have like a rapid fire chip or any of that crap because that's cheating and I don't believe in it. But I thought I'd get a personalized controller, and I did, and I love it, and it works great, and I'm very excited. So, yeah, I actually obtained all 4 of those things this last week. So, I don't know. I just thought, you know, being a collector, man, I can show those off, and I'll at some point show the rest of my collection off sometime whenever I can get an actual camera that isn't just a webcam. I'll do that. I will get around to it so I can show you guys, and then you can also get a better idea of what you can possibly see from my see for first impressions and whatnot in the future. All right, and then the last thing I wanted to talk about is I wanted to do kind of a mini review, actually, and not of a game this time. I wanted to do one of a movie. Actually, I don't watch movies very often, but when I do, I choose Dos Equis. No, but there are a few movies this year I'm extremely excited for. The very first one that came out, and actually, well, I guess I should say the second one. I was also excited for Kung Fu Panda 3, which I actually still haven't seen. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not the best at that. I usually see about 3 or 4 new movies a year. Like, that's it. I don't really watch new movies as much as I used to when I was a kid. But this year, I've actually already seen 3 new ones. So I'm doing a lot better this year, and the one that I have enjoyed the most is the one I saw on Saturday and Sunday, actually. I've already seen it twice, and that is Zootopia. I was extremely excited for this movie just because it evokes memories of the aesthetic that Don Bluth has a lot in his movies, and older Disney movies like Robin Hood and The Jungle Book. Just the anthropomorphic animals kind of thing, and I guess Jungle Book doesn't count; those aren't anthropomorphic; they're feral. But it still is the same kind of concept, you know, the talking animals in an animated movie. Specifically, Secret of Nim and American Tail and stuff like that. I loved those movies growing up, and then also Land Before Time. Loved those movies growing up, and I was extremely excited to see that they were doing a movie like this again, brushing aside the fact that everyone's afraid that, you know, this is pandering to furry culture, which I totally don't believe. I think that's very foresighted, I think, and also apparently a lot of other people do too, considering that this is breaking all of Frozen's, well, not all of them, but most of Frozen's records right now. So, so clearly I'm not the only one who thinks that. So I was very excited to see it. And I actually was surprised that I liked it more than I was expected to, and for different reasons than I expected to. From the trailers, I gathered that this was going to be much more of a comedy than previous movies like Big Hero 6, Wreck-It Ralph, Frozen, Tangled. And to my surprise, I would actually say Tangled and Wreck-It Ralph were both a lot more comedic than this movie was. This movie was actually a little bit more heavy-handed. And just to kind of get it out of the way, the moral of this movie, or I guess like the message behind it, is about prejudice, and that it's really just a simple message. I mean, there are overtones and stuff like that, and you could read more into it, but if honestly doing it for a Disney movie is kind of stupid. Don't do that. It is very simply a movie just about teaching I mean, people of all ages, honestly, just to be a good person. Um, and that's really all there is to it. There were a lot of comedic bits. Well, actually, no, sorry, not a lot. There was a few comedic bits. There was only one scene though that was really like focused on being funny, and that's actually the scene that we all already know is in the movie, just from the trailers, believe it or not. So, for the most part, the movie again took itself pretty seriously. It was actually more of just a buddy cop movie. It was just about solving this mystery that takes place in the world, in the city of Zootopia, and it was it was like an interesting ride. It was actually a lot of fun. It was, I mean, it to its base, in its basic form, was just an action movie with the buddy cop formula. That's all it was. That's really all it was, and it was great. Freak, the two main characters made this movie, and actually the rabbit, Judy Hopps, played by Jennifer Goodwin, more so, I would say, than Jason Bateman as Nick Wilde the fox. Like, a lot more so. I actually expected just because it's Jason Bateman, I expected him to kind of be the star of the show. And yes, he does crack a lot of one-liners. Yes, he does have a lot of funny moments. Yes, he's very suave. But honestly, even without him, I think Jennifer Goodwin could have carried this movie. Every single time she was on screen, I was interested. I was invested. I wanted her to succeed. I was rooting for her the whole time. She was awesome. She made this movie. But the two of them together was even better. It was even better. In fact, I'm not a person who advocates for sequels often. In fact, I hate it because usually if something's really good, I just want it to be left alone so that a sequel doesn't possibly taint it, which it has happened a lot in the past. Although, to Hollywood's credit, I would say animated studios have been getting better about that lately, namely Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon, Toy Story, all that stuff. But there's still always a chance it can ruin it. Cars 2. But, I want a sequel of just because of these two. I really want to see more. And also the environment, the aesthetic, the entire, the world that they're in. That's also incredibly interesting, and I feel like there's so much that can be done with it. But just those two, Jason Bateman and Jennifer Goodwin, as those two characters, I would love another movie with them. I would love it. I would absolutely love it. They're just so much fun. The way they bounce off each other. Every single time you're on screen, you're smiling. I mean, it was just a lot of fun to watch them work. When I first saw it, I always thought, Judy Hopps, so she's just going to be kind of a stick in the mud. She just kind of wants to, she's all about just getting stuff done and blah, 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 trying to prove herself. Actually, no, she was the little bit that, but she was also actually pretty sassy. She actually kind of pulled fast ones on Nick a lot, who was supposed to be more of the sly, clever one, but in a lot of times she actually outsmarted him. And it's entertaining to watch them. It really is. And there were some pretty comedic characters in this movie. Like Clawhauser, he had a trailer. He's like a chubby, I think leopard, played by Nate Torrance. The only thing I really know him from other than this is he plays one of the two nerds and nerd analysts in Get Smart, and he cracks me up in that movie. I love that movie. And he plays the leopard in this, and he's a riot. He's so fun throughout the movie. And I think my favorites actually were Judy Hopps' parents. They had me in stitches every single time they were on screen. Just so blatantly. And I don't even want to say this without spoiling it. I need to figure out how to say this without spoiling anything. They were just so freaking negative, but not like actually depressing negative. They were just like, I don't know, every single thing that came out of their mouth, it was like a letdown, but the comedy came from that, and it was so funny. They were a riot. I loved them. A lot of the side characters were great. Idris Elba played the chief of police. He was awesome. The mayor doesn't show all that much. He's played by J.K. Simmons, but he's still fun in every scene he's in. And there's these little extra characters that are great. There's so many great characters in this movie, just so many. And I really, really enjoyed it, and I hope that you all go see it too. I really don't think that you should miss out on this movie. It's a lot of fun, and Disney has been kind of on fire ever since. Was it Tangled? They really have been on fire with their animated movies since Tangled. Tangled was awesome. Wreck-It Ralph was great. Frozen was great. Big Hero 6 is great. And arguably, I would say Zootopia is, and I don't want to set expectations too high, but personally, I would say Zootopia is my favorite of the five. Wreck-It Ralph, a very, very close second, but and then Tangled probably right behind that. But I really enjoyed this movie enough that I went and saw it literally 2 days in a row, which I've never done in my life, by the way. 2 days in a row in the theaters and enjoyed it just as much the second time as I did the first time. That's another thing, though, is I actually caught a lot more the second time. This is one of those movies that has a ton of background humor, evoking memories of movies such as Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs or the Lego Movie, which are, of course, by the same writers. But yeah, it did have it did. I mean, it didn't have as much as those movies, but it had a decent amount to keep me entertained and also to make that second viewing really worthwhile. And there's probably still more I haven't caught that I'll see upon more repeat viewings. In fact, I'm going to be seeing it probably again this weekend, so I can actually take some family along with me because they want to see it as well. So it's a good movie, and I hope you all check it out at some point. It's definitely not one you're going to want to miss. And, with all of these animated, animal-based movies coming out, like, holy crap, this year, we've got also, what is it, Secret Life of Pets, and what is it, Sing? Yeah, Sing. I mean, all these movies that are kind of falling in the same vein as each other, I would say, I don't want to make any promises, but, considering it is Disney and knowing how good they are, I would say this is probably going to be the best of all those. But, I mean, of course, I could be surprised. But there's so many of them. This is the one you'll want to check out. If you're at all a moviegoer, I would highly recommend seeing it. But yeah. Anyway, that's all I really have to talk about in this update. Thank you also very much for watching. Hoping something interesting happens this week so I can have something to talk about in the next update. We'll have to see. But yeah. Thank you also very much for watching. And I will see you all in the next one.